privacy is going to be a huge challenge over the next decade. I don't think it's just GDPR and CCPA that we're dealing with. Those are defined and have been kind of passed. They're actually not being implemented in any kind of systemic or clear way. There's lots of ambiguity around CCPA. GDPR is implemented on a or evaluated on a country by country basis in the EU, even though it's a single set of standards. They can all be interpreted differently. Yep. And then you have about 14 or 15 states that are currently going through pending legislative action on a state-by-state level, that none of which really necessarily conforms perfectly with CCPA. So, and you don't see the federal government moving to do anything from a standards perspective to try to set some consistency. So I do think we're going to be in a very messy privacy environment for the next 3 to 5 years at minimum. I think that creates both opportunity and challenge for marketers, because there aren't going to be clear definitions around what we can and can't do. I think depending on who we have in the White House and who controls the legislative branches of government is going to drive to what degree government actually implements regulatory authority over those types of standards. So I just think it's going to be a very kind of messy world. But with that said, there are a lot of best practices that marketers can take to ensure that the things that they're doing with their customer data and the partners that they're working with in the supply chain are as best in class as possible in terms of understanding the privacy environment and adhering to them. I think that's going to be kind of the key focus that agencies play over the next time period, to help clients understand where they should be, who they should be working with, and how, and the watch outs they should have in relation to the black holes that still exist in the environment. I think the other big opportunity is around addressability. I think that kind of comes out of the identity kind of opportunity, but you're going to see rapid change in my mind, well, rapid in relation to how the industry's changed over the last 50 years. In the television space, I think you're starting to see the networks understand that they have to really operate in a different way. They have to enable national addressability in some form or fashion. There are a number of consortiums that are focused on trying to unlock that. How it's used by marketers will be interesting. There's still a lot of commercial and business components to that rolling out that I think have not been defined. But I do think 5 to 10 years from now, we're going to be in a very different world from a TV perspective. If broadcast television does not cut their ad load by 50% or more in the next 5 years, no one will be watching broadcast TV. So they have to figure out how to make a better, not no one, don't worry, John. The NFL will be fine. But scripted and entertainment-based content will no longer primarily be a linear experience. It will move to the SVOD services that are providing much better consumer experiences. That's not good news for marketers. So we've got to figure that out in a way that creates opportunity for brands and that sustains an ad-supported and viable video ecosystem.
I think they're figuring it out already. I mean, we've been working with CBS for years on The Amazing Race with Travelocity, and they've figured out ways to integrate the roaming gnome into the show, and that has been interesting to measure because it is broadcast TV. But that's been a great partnership for us, and at least the conversations we've had, there's a sense that there's a ton of appetite to do more of that. Maybe it's to monetize, more of the minutes. I don't really know. Maybe it is with a view on the long game of reducing the ad load of the show. But either way, it's working for us, and it seems to be something we'd love to do more of under the right circumstances.
I think what will get smarter is the analytics behind it, right? Yeah. And the understanding behind it. So sponsorship isn't going to go away, or content creation and embedding content into premium programming is only going to continue to evolve. And I think you're going to see brands even emerge as content creators and pushing things into distribution channels to be able to get their message out there accordingly. That'll always be there, but I think what's going to get stronger is the measurement behind it again, and the understanding of who's actually there and why it's of value to you and how it connects to that broad reach brand message back to how it actually affects the business outcomes you're trying to achieve.
And speaking of that, I mean, one of the things I mentioned that in-house agency that Media Solutions Group has at Expedia, one of the things that they've done that's been very successful is to take Expedia's advertising and integrate partners into it. So we had a partnership that's public with the tourism board for the United Kingdom, and we built our campaign to promote Expedia around the goals of the tourism board and launched that campaign in markets that were important to them, and that worked very well for both of us. It's a little different because it's advertising, not core content, but I think those are the kinds of things that marketers can do to extend. We were able to do more advertising because it was a joint venture, but we were also able to meet multiple marketing goals.
I think how you extend and support it outside of that pure sponsorship environment also becomes key too, and that's always been a challenge, is to connect the dots between, well, why am I buying online banners to support something that's a television ad? And I think, again, the connectivity comes back to how people are viewing and understanding and engaging with it.
Multi-touch.
And understanding, multi-touch attribution, but also understanding of consumers' engagement across those channels with that content as well.